All right, now we have another One Piece fight. This one's interesting, y'all. This one is even more interesting than the last one I brought up. Because this is Zoro versus Arlong. At Arlong Park, during that point in time, get this. I'm saying the conditions are he is full health bars. No Mihawk fight, no, scars, fully healed, none of that shit, right? He's 100%. No Mihawk scars, none of that shit. He has no scar on his chest, no, stitches yet, none of that. We'll say basically in this scenario, Zoro has to fight against Arlong. Let's see how it goes. Zoro at this point in time has three sword style, and that's it. Arlong is a fishman. We know that they're stated to be 5 times as strong as a human being, and they can swim in water. Now, I'm not saying Zoro can't, go into the water too, and he can. So like he don't have the same weaknesses as Luffy does. So if it does end up going into the water and Zoro's at full health bars, he can do some things. He can maneuver past that. He can sidestep that issue. So let's go into this now. So physical strength actually goes to Arlong. Like I said at the beginning of this video, Zoro is a incredible human being, but he's not as incredible as he is like currently. He's still, not quite there yet. But as far as Arlong goes, yeah, he's physically stronger. But, not by much. But I'd give it to Arlong in this situation. Zoro definitely got speed on that guy, though. When it comes to not being in water, which they ain't going to be starting in water, they're starting right where, Luffy and him started on land. And guess what? I don't even think it lasts, it even gets to that point. If you ask me, speed-wise, Zoro, has the speed on it. Durability-wise, Arlong has the durability. Zoro does not have Haki at this point, so he is not as durable. And then, like I said, a fish man is not a regular man, it's a man and a fish. So he has that extra layer of, toughness. However, even with that, Zoro has that extra gear or that second wind he can get in a fight. Let's say he does get, roughed up by Arlong a little bit, which he probably will during this fight. Not gonna lie. I'll say Zoro ain't gonna let that slow him down. He even get thrown in the water. He'll find a way to take this shit back to land. He'll get the fight back to land somehow. Intelligence-wise, goes to Zoro slightly. And Zoro, I do know, y'all, Zoro's not the smartest man in the world, but in a fight, he's a little bit more intelligent. He understands that the water is there as a weakness, or that he understands that Arlong could use that to, give him the advantage. So he'll do the best he can to keep the fight on land as long as possible, or basically finish him before he can even go into the water. Experience goes to Arlong as he's been a pirate a lot longer than Zoro has, and he's been a part of other crews. If we watch the anime, we know he was part of Sun Pirates for a little bit, and then he became his own pirate captain and all that shit. So he has experience over Zoro. Close skills go to Zoro. Range skills go to Arlong because he can shoot those little water bullets. Like he can use his sweat or the water, and he can shoot them at Zoro, and that will do damage to Zoro. If he ain't cutting through that, and they hit him, they're gonna do damage. Recovery, I'll give it to Zoro. Axe wise, I'm giving it to Zoro. The three sword style, like I said before, it can cut through those water bullets. It can, do a lot. He can still cut through Arlong too. See, the reason why Zoro couldn't do shit to Arlong in the first place was because his wounds were opening up. And he beat Hachan, but he didn't know he was going to have to fight the big guy too. This time he don't have to worry about that in this situation because he's full health bars. No Mihawk fight has occurred yet. Not in this scenario. So any damage that's done to him isn't that severe. I don't see Arlong really getting that deep. Maybe if he used his nose and he pecked him like, even then Zoro would know how to, push through that kind of pain. And I see him, he might lose some swords though. He might actually, but not Wado. He wouldn't lose Wado Ichimonji, not in that fight. You know, it's not one of those weak ass fights. Um, environment goes to Arlong big time because it's his island. He took it over. He knows about it. Um, so he has that advantage. But even with all of that, I'm giving it high to extreme difficulty. Zoro's taking the win. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below, and be cool while on the corner.